The first version of vRigger had 24 pieces of gear. As of version 11, there are almost 500 items. Because there are so many items, some of the specialized gear is not available by default, and there is undoubtedly gear in vRigger that you will never use. The Gear Manager lets you declutter vRigger by excluding gear that you don't use. It also lets you include specialized gear that isn't available by default. You can display the Gear Manager by selecting Gear Manager on the Gear toolbar, by pressing the Shift, Control, and G keys, or by choosing More Gear at the bottom of the Gear Finder. The Gear Manager displays two lists. The gear in the left-hand list is gear that you don't use. Think of this as gear that is in storage. It's still there, but it won't appear in vRigger. The gear in the right-hand list is gear that you're likely to use. This gear will appear on the gear panes, the gear finder, and on the gear toolbar. Think of this as gear that is in your gear bag. You can move gear between the lists by dragging it or by selecting gear and using the Add or Remove buttons. The number of items in each list is displayed below the lists. It's preferable to keep the number of items that you use to less than 400. You can limit the gear that is displayed in the Gear Manager using these controls. For example, you can select theatrical gear, so only the theatrical gear is displayed. You can then select all of it and move it to storage. This is handy if you never use the theatrical gear. When you purchase vRigger, you can choose to buy gear for additional rigging industries. This panel shows the available rigging industries. Industries that you haven't licensed are shown in light gray. You can see the gear that you haven't licensed by selecting Unlicensed Gear from this list. Unlicensed gear is displayed in light gray. Click Gear Licensing and then License More Industries to learn about the additional gear. Click the Help button to learn more about the Gear Manager. There's a lot of gear in vRigger. Use the Gear Manager to reduce clutter by removing gear that you'll probably never use and to make sure the specialized gear that you do use is available.